whiskey lovers, and welcome to another one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings. And today I'm taking you to the Isle of Mull off the west coast of Scotland. On the Isle of Mull you will find only one distillery, and that is the Tobermory Distillery. It was founded in 1798 by John Sinclair near the harbour, and that harbour is actually called Ledaig, or at least a quartier of that harbour was called Ledaig. Now Ledaig is pronounced Ledaig, like I said, although it is written Ledaig, it is pronounced Ledaig. Because Ledaig is Celtic or Gaelic for safe harbour. Not that I speak Gaelic, but Google is my friend. Anyway, when the distillery was founded, it was actually named the Ledaig Distillery. It took until 1979 before it was renamed to Tobermory. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Tobermory is a fisherman's wharf, and the coming of that is a fisherman's town, I should say, or a village. But the coming of the distillery did give Tobermory, that harbour's den, an economical boost. But the Tobermory Distillery has a bit of a checkered past. Even though it's been around since 1798, it was actually closed from 1837 until 1878. So that's 51 years already done, closed. And again it closed from 1930 until 1972, another 42 years. So all in all it's been closed for, well, almost half the time. Little under half the time. And during World War II, it was actually a mess hall for the Allied forces who were stationed on the Isle of Mull at the Tobermory Distillery. I even heard rumours that they took a bath in the mash tun, but that's never been really confirmed. It's a bit of a weird idea, isn't it? All these soldiers in the big mash tun taking a bath. Imagine that. I'm not saying it's true. I could not corroborate that story anywhere. Anyway, in 1979, the Tobermory Distillers Company was founded, and that's when they rechristened the Ledaig Distillery back to Tobermory Distillery. And finally, in 1993, if I'm not mistaken, Stewart Distillers, who already own Black Bottle, Bunnahabhain, Deanston and Scottish Leader, they finally got hold of the Tobermory Distillery. Nowadays there are three types of whiskey being produced at the Tobermory Distillery. An unpeated version that gets the name of the distillery. Then there is the peated version, Ledaig, which I will be trying today. And finally there's also Iona, which is a heavily peated Tobermory spirit named after an island just off the coast of the Isle of Mull. The Iona spirit, or the Iona whiskey, the heavily peated version, is only available at the distillery. Nowadays, since 2011, Stewart has been bottling both Tobermory and Ledaig at 46.3% ABV, thus making chill filtration redundant, and they've also given the bottle a completely new look. What I will be trying today, however, is an older bottling, a no-age statement version of Ledaig, and this one is bottled at 42% ABV. And it was about time to do this little whiskey video because, as you can see, I am almost out of this Ledaig. Anyway, here we go. So an older bottling of Ledaig, no age statement, 42% ABV, and as you can see, the colour is really very light. It's got the colour of white wine. Here we go, on the nose. Well, it is a bit soft and timid at first. I get a bit of smoke, a bit of hay, a bit of salt, some floral elements, but also some white fruit, so some apples and pears in there as well. A touch of vanilla, and maybe even some sauerkraut. You know sauerkraut, the German cabbage, sauerkraut. I don't know how else to describe this. It is not unpleasant, but it is not big either. It is quite timid, fairly timid, delicate nose. On the palate then. Well, it's quite crispy, and the vanilla that I got on the nose is turning into grain biscuits, and the peat is wrapping all of this in a fairly smoky jacket. It's much more smoky, or the peat is much more discernible than it was on the nose. It's a bit punchy even. I get some lit cardboard, which is not an off note in this case. It works quite well. But there's not much else going on, so well, it's probably a fairly young whiskey, but it's not as sharp as I would have expected. A bit fruity, a bit smoky, a bit salty. but everything is just a bit, you know, it's not really a big whiskey. And also on the finish, which is, truth be told, fairly short, nothing new is developing here. So this is a very middle of the road, very straightforward whiskey, probably young like I said, but dangerously quaffable. I mean, this is very easy to drink, but don't expect this to be a peaty whiskey like you would get from Islay, for example. This is quite different, much more delicate. It's another style basically. And I find Ledaig to be at its best when it's around 7-8 years old, because it is quite punchy then, quite straightforward, but still a bit more character than this one. This one is probably younger, but I do like my Ledaig quite young, and I find it a good introduction to peaty whiskey in general, but it's a far cry from the peaty whiskey that you will get from Islay. But then again, that's not what they're aiming for. This is simply a different style from the Isle of Mull, from the Tobermory Distillery, Ledaig, which means safe harbour. Quite quaffable, not overly complex, not at all, very straightforward, not much going on, but very quaffable indeed. And maybe you should give it a try. And that's all for this Whisky Rambling, and I hope to see you again at one of Mark's Whisky Ramblings real soon. And until then, may the malt be with you.